because I figured that's when you needed to learn the basic important principles about yourself. And then we moved on, and as you got older, I imposed upon you my philosophy that travel is the greatest form of education. And the reason why I did that, Max, was because all of us tend to live in a cocoon. We have a very confined life. We do the same things. We get up and go to school every day and keep busy. But we don't have a great peripheral vision. And I learned in my career that travel takes you out of your routine. And it feeds the mind, and it feeds the imagination.
On one of our last days in Xi'an, China, we were given the wonderful opportunity to go see the Terracotta Warriors. We all got on the bus and made our way to see these magnificent life-size soldiers. Now on our way there, we saw some very interesting things. A thing that is very different from America, and in Beijing, was all of the bikes. I'm cruising down the highway doing 105 kilometers and looking out the window and seeing a bike riding parallel with us for a split second, and then looking out the other and seeing a flatbed full of people trying to catch a ride. I think of the story behind it. Think about how they managed to get where they are today. I honestly felt like I was a motionless clay soldier, standing still, just watching everything go on around me without being able to move. At the start point of our journey, we first went to a small factory where they made the warriors the exact same way they made them thousands of years ago. We then walked around the factory that was making these warriors to sell and other fascinating items. Now, there was just this tension to want to be a consumer and purchase all these wonderful items, but I always thought of what my pop told me, and I embraced the culture and envied the craftsmanship. This really got me to think how the two things were so coexisting, and that a mile away from where these soldiers were being buried thousands of years ago was an industrial factory making them for profit. It really got me to think how much China is changing in a way that they aren't preserving the treasures as much, such as these warriors. Now came the time when we went to see the real soldiers. They were made thousands of years ago to protect the first emperor of China when he died, and there were over 8,000 of them made, and each one was different than the next. When I saw these, I was amazed. The size of the pits and how well they were preserved was inspiring. And yet, some of them were broken. Some had no heads, no arms, no legs. They all varied. It made me think back to those people in that truck who had no money, no clothes, no job, and how they were like the soldiers too. We then went to a Chinese tea house to have a traditional Chinese tea ceremony. The tea was nothing like it was in America. It made me relax, and I felt like I was a native of China.
And you might wonder why was I doing that for you or to you when you were young. And the reason for that is that I consider integrity to be the most important personal quality that anyone can have. And that if you don't have any integrity, which I consider to be the foundation of life, without integrity, you're no one.